So that's when I realized, you know what? I think the bigger need that's in the market today is not necessarily entrepreneurs. Like we're kind of flooded with tons of entrepreneurial. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, raise capital, build your startup. I think this is our message. What's totally overlooked and underplayed is this role of, hey, you could go be an amazing number 2, 3, or 4 to scale something that matters.
I gotta put an amen on that.
Welcome to the Value Factory Podcast, brought to you by One Accord. We're all about helping businesses thrive and grow through leadership, strategy, and meaningful impact. Now, whether you're a seasoned executive or just starting out, our goal is to provide insights and inspiration to help you navigate your journey. Thanks for tuning in.
Patrick, thank you for joining us in the Value Factory. For everyone watching, listening, this is Patrick Lowndes. And Patrick, your current kind of vocational focus is with a brand, a company. Tell me it's, oh gosh, I just lost it.
It's okay. Frontier Operators.
Frontier Operators. Foundation I had in my head, maybe because you just...
I just said...
Frontier Operators.
That's right. Yes.
I think maybe we start right there, 2 or 3 sentences. How would you define Frontier Operators for folks that don't know?
Yeah, it's great. Well, we love equipping young professionals and mid-career professionals to fully live out this concept of being a business operator, which we're going to unpack a lot more of what does that mean. But to do that, to see God's kingdom permeate the workplaces where they work domestically. And then our unique angle is in the frontier markets economically in the ends of the earth. So parts of the world that you wouldn't normally think of doing an investment deal, we gladly walk in and we help build value in those markets, which create a unique conversation for people that are like, I never realized that a business person can go and create a ton of value over there in that space. And so we love doing that as our, hence why we call Frontier Operators. So yeah, but we love doing that. We'll talk about what we mean on operators here.
2 things I want to pick up on. Young professionals, I think, is the language that you used.
That's right.
And then those frontier markets. So
that's right.
Define young professionals.
Yes, excellent. So we really do a lot of our work in mid to late 20s. Okay. But we find out that a lot of universities love having us come and speak. So we actually meet a lot of people in their early 20s, and when they're still students, and they're dreaming about what they could do with their career, their vocation. But yeah, a lot of our programs focus kind of mid to late 20s and 30s. Okay. And that's what we mean young. And when I say mid-career, for some people that could mean like, oh, you're 45, 50 and like not retired yet. I would still lean on the first half, 10 to 20 years of someone's career is where we kind of target mid-career.
Cool. And then those frontier markets.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Spokane, Washington, or?
That's right. Yes. There's actually a few ways to think about the word frontier. So I'll just start with the economic lens as a business podcast, right?
Okay.
So economically, frontier would basically be defined as like not a tier 1 market, right? So frontier and emerging, people can debate about the definition of an emerging market.
We're not talking about overseas markets like developing economies.
Yeah.
Or are you?
I think that's the difference, is that economically, a lot of the markets where we try to work, we're not talking about tier 1 markets. And I would say things like a well-developed market, like the United States of America, a lot of tier 1 markets here. Yeah. Europe. Even just imagine like Singapore was not a tier 1 market 30 years ago, 40 years ago, but now it is. And so I actually would say, on a global scale, when we say frontier, we're looking at markets that are not fully developed on the world stage. And some people would put them at tier 2, some people tier 3. We're in markets, we help run businesses in markets where there's a lot of oligarchies, corruption, wars break out, geopolitical risk.
Real oligarchies, not the things that people talk about.
Oh, I mean,
U.S. politics, right? Like,
to give you an idea, like literally the question is who's your roof in some of these markets, which
who's your roof?
in some of these parts of the world, they will ask you like basically who's backing you up if this thing goes sideways. When I say frontier, it's where relationship many times matters more than contract.
Interesting.
It's where however many cups of tea you've had with somebody carries more weight than what is line 56 of our 15-page contract say. And so that's the kind of, when I say frontier, I actually do mean those parts of the world where economically there's frontier, but there's one other angle, if I could go there with you too. The other side of frontier that we talk about is from a spiritual perspective. A little bit about me and my background as a Christian, and there's parts of the world that are very much frontier from a spiritual perspective, and the chances of you meeting a believer, a Christian in some of these parts of the world, in the United States, it's probably about 1 in 4 is your odds of just on the street walking into a Christian.
Oh, interesting.
In Seattle,
I've not heard. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It depends on how you break it out. In Seattle, some parts of Seattle might be 1 in 10, 1 in 20 if you're in the more liberal part of the city. Parts of the world I'm talking about, the odds of you just running into a Christian are usually between 1 in 100 and 1 in 10,000. Like it's very, very rare that you would meet somebody of that kind of view. So I share that. I share that because business people have outsized impact when you go into these kind of markets, especially as an American, although a lot of that's changed in the last little bit, but the way that we show up in these markets matters in how we add value.
Yeah.
And not just as entrepreneurs, but as operators. Lots to think about there.
A lot of threads.
Which thread do you want to go down?
Yeah.
That's right.
Love them. So, well, how about just a few more kind of tactical?
Sure.
So which countries, which markets are, I don't know how to ask this question.
Yeah, sure.
But
regions of the world, maybe.
Do you have people in or where your clients are?
Yeah. So we help, just to clarify a little bit, at Frontier Operators, we develop talent predominantly in the North American markets. So we have operators in Canada and the United States predominantly, and we are training them and teaching them how to operate with excellence and efficiency in their companies here where they're working. They all have full-time jobs. We do some professional development outside of their full-time job. We also train business people that want to actually train their staff and how to think like operators. But the parts of the world we have network in, there's obviously a lot of activity on the African continent, subcontinental Africa. We do a lot in North Africa. And we also do a lot in Middle East, the Gulf region. Mm-hmm. And then into Central Asia, a lot of the stands, we have people running businesses that are just doing really excellent work. I mean, businesses of 20, 30, 40 people, you wouldn't think get audience at this level in terms of the governments. But when you come in as a foreigner and you run a business that truly creates jobs and creates innovation in an economy, like you start turning heads when the investment amount starts to get into the 7-8 figures. Yeah. They kind of want to know who you are and what kind of impact you're creating, and usually they welcome it.
So going back to your kind of preamble or your introduction,
that's right.
You equip young professionals to be operators in frontier markets.
That's right. Starting in developed markets, and with some of them actually going and working over there. Yeah.
How do those young professionals learn about frontier operators, or how do you learn about them?
Excellent question. Yeah. Right now, what we do is we find like on this year alone, we're just doing a bit of a college tour, and so we spend a lot of time going to some of the top tier business schools around the country. Yeah. Undergrad, MBAs as well. And we usually get audience there to speak, by God's grace, just having built and sold a company by the time I was 29, 30 years old, and still didn't sell my soul in the process. Yeah. A lot of those colleges do welcome that. So that's where we try to, I'll be next week, I'll be keynoting the conference at the largest Christian university in the country. And it's like that's an example where they want to hear from people that have done some work.
Been there, done that, have the receipts.
And that want to show like
Yeah.
there's a way to do this faithfully. There's a way to operate with purpose. It's the name of a program that we offer to these schools. So that's actually where we find many of them.
Which school is this that you're keynoting?
This one is at Grand Canyon
It is
University.
Grand Canyon. Yeah, you said the largest. I wondered if it was Grand Canyon.
They just they surpassed the other one that had that title for a while, and I'll bet they debate about it all the time online.
Sure.
But that's an example. Like we go to those schools, and also I was at University of Washington here, my alma mater. We're at lots of public schools as well, trying to find the groups of people that we want to equip there in those schools. And many times, Christians and ministries and people that want to think about integrating my faith.
So you go and tell your story. You're
That's right.
Keynoting at Grand Canyon. Curious to, what's the TLDR on that?
Yeah,
on
sure.
That story.
I can sure. Yeah. Their conference is it's a next generation leadership conference, and their theme is forging with fire, which is great because one of our programs is actually called The Forge. Okay. So we totally believe in the concept of like being, burnt down and being rebuilt into something else. Yeah. So the TLDR there is, again, getting to speak to, that conference that'll be there. And there's also several other.
Your story of starting a company, selling a company and not losing
the TLDR. Yes. Let's go down that path. Yeah, sure. So we're here in Kirkland. And so I started at University of Washington, Seattle. Got an entrepreneurship degree from the University of Washington, the Foster School. Sold software for 5 or 6 years. Did pretty well at that. Still at that whole time, I was starting to meet these companies around the world. So just to kind of, you'll see the threads merge together, but I started meeting many of these people when I was a sales rep, software sales rep. And then as I left my day job to start this company, which is called VendorHawk, help vendors watch their software like a hawk. So catchy name of like, cut back on your waste, which turns out that was a pretty good business to be in.
So you're selling, let's say, to me as the business owner.
That's right.
Watch my vendors.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Usually like director of IT, chief information officer. Yep. So we would go in, like for example, Zillow was one of our big local customers, and like their director of IT loved looking at hundreds of software apps that many of them they weren't using very effectively, and so they would actually use our app to like clean up house and clean up contracts, save a bunch of money.
It's like
that fun.
You're like the private sector Doge app.
You could almost
before it was a thing.
Before that was a thing. That's right. We would joke that we were SaaS for your SaaS. Yeah. Like we were SaaS to cut back on your other SaaS products.
So you're doing software sales, then you create this SaaS for the SaaS, this VendorHawk.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
How long were you at that?
So we ideated the company kind of while I still had my day job, a year and a half, running that on the side of my day job, quit my day job, joined Techstars. Yeah. And only 14 months after joining Techstars, we exited the business. So very quick timeline was we raised 1.2 million in venture capital, ran the company for about 10 months, and we're looking to go raise more capital when we by God's grace, just created a bidding war for some people that were offering to buy us because they wanted to add our capability and our team inside of their tech stack. So ServiceNow won that bidding war. And so here I am at the ripe age of 29, 30, and I'm closing an acquisition, which most founders never even get to experience. And so I just point to that anytime I'm telling my story. I'm like, this is literally God's grace on display. This was not like an amazing unit economic business and we were crushing every single thing. It was more like we had a solid team, solid product in market, and we were showing some real value. And then ServiceNow said, let's scale that. And they did to the tune, to the tune of the hundreds of millions within 4 years after they acquired us. So we bought the company, stayed on at ServiceNow for almost 5 years and scaled that up.
Wow.
And they actually stole our engineering team and built a whole nother product line to respond to COVID. So they kind of got 2 acquisitions out of the price of one. But that was the brief story on the entrepreneurial success.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Nick Anderson here, CEO of One Accord. Thank you for tuning into the Value Factory. I hope you're getting value from this episode. Listen, one of the ways that we partner with CEOs is using our system called Oasis, the One Accord system. our proprietary business operating system that is designed to shift your leadership team from reactive firefighting to focused execution. We provide the framework to align your vision with your strategy, ensuring sustainable growth and clarity at every level of your organization. To learn how One Accord can support your company today, click the link in the show notes or the bio to get connected with one of our senior leaders. In this moment in time, so if we timestamp this as February 17, there's another similar story. If you're paying at all attention to OpenClaw, seen this?
Yep.
That just quick turn, but you started something about a year and a half, committed to it full time. 10 months later, you're going to go raise another round, and you end up with an exit. Unplanned. Nice story.
Yeah.
It
was.
And so, and you stayed on 5 years.
About 5 years, scaled it up.
And then where's the bridge from there to Frontier Operators?
Yeah. So while I'll say one little detail about the ServiceNow stint. I learned very quickly that when you're helping run a business unit, I was in a product management role. When you're helping at the time, the business unit was maybe, 40 employees maybe. And we went to maybe our business unit grew to about 120, 130 employees globally in that 5 years, just grew massively. But I had to deal with pressures and at a corporate level in product where you are working so cross-functionally that it's you could almost say intrapreneur. Like I was doing intrapreneur kind of work, but really I was helping operate and create space for our thing that we were building to make sense inside of a much larger platform play and platform narrative. And so I learned something there about the power of working cross-functionally that I didn't have as many words for because I was just brand new to also being an investor.
Yeah.
And I started to realize this thing that I'm doing inside of this big public company, like there's a word for it. And as I started to impact invest, I joined a small venture capital firm. I'm still currently one of the general partners at a Proto Ventures. And we talk about the difference between like a visionary founder and someone who's actually a great operator.
Yeah.
And I realized like that's what I was actually learning how to do inside of a public company because I just did it pretty well at a startup.
Yeah, man.
So much there. Yeah.
Ariana, my wife, is the visionary entrepreneur.
Okay.
And her companies, her business is design build, really design first, but design build construction, furnishing, interiors, all of it. And she's a really solid operator. Like she gets stuff done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In that. And she understands systems and, thinks in the second and third order effect. If I do this, it means that.
That's right. Exactly. Yes.
And in that, in her, her companies, as we work together to build those, to achieve kind of what her vision is, we have this conversation regularly around, in order for her to step into that visionary role, she needs
operators,
right?
And I'd say a team.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So, we're looking at, we're having conversations. There's the construction side needs to be a GM there. There's the design side needs to be a, lead designer.
Yep.
There's the furnishings business, which is less of a burden, but there's 3 divisions and operators. And we've been very blessed to bring onto our team kind of at the family office level, a controller. And he is solid financial operator.
Yes,
right? In
exactly.
his domain. And I'd say pretty diverse also in some skill sets, which makes him a really valuable member of the team, right?
Yeah.
We see marketing and sales, right?
Oh yeah.
Operators of these organizations, right?
Totally.
The needs there. And so a team of operators for sure.
That's it.
So, what had me kind of walking down this rabbit trail is Ariana has been an entrepreneur pretty much from day one.
Yeah.
She didn't go work in a design firm for 10 years and then branch out and start her own. She worked in a design firm for like 3 months.
Okay.
And
It's like, I could do this.
it wasn't even that. They, the story was like the owner was like, "You're becoming my competition already." Like he could see that
Yeah.
she is the entrepreneur, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I have 25 years in corporate America. I worked in a dozen different banks over 25 years. The
Okay.
story I tell is that my name and my address didn't change on my business card, but the name of the bank did
Yeah.
because of acquisitions.
That's
And,
right. Okay.
Okay. So here you have two very different stories. She and I
Yep.
are both entrepreneurs. We
Yep.
have our companies. She came up full entrepreneurial route. I came up
Mhm.
inside
Yep.
corporate, right?
Yep.
I have more training, more formal training, more academic education of,
Mhm.
how to.
Yep.
She has more cuts and bruises and scars, right?
Here's how I figured it out.
Right.
Yeah.
All, these things. And so
Okay.
we come to this place together, and I'm not sure which path I would say, is
Mhm.
better or worse. Or,
Yeah.
better or worse is not the right, but, more efficient.
Sure.
But I am in this space where the formal training, the equipping, that's a word
Yep.
that you use,
Yep.
um, has a lot of value.
Mhm.
And I, even in conversations with Ariana, I think, boy, there are some things that I went through, like some training, some programs, some things that I've learned
Yep.
that at the time I was going through it, it was like a, kid in 6th grade. Well, what'd you learn in school today? Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. But what's 3 squared? Well, it's 9.
Yeah.
Well, where'd you learn that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm going through these courses in corporate America and thinking, I'll
Mhm.
never use this stuff.
Yeah.
None of this matters. Why am I doing this? And here
Yes.
I am 20 years later, like, oh,
That was helpful.
right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So
Good.
that's me talking around and in a lot of, kind of backstory, really trying to find
Mhm.
a place where you had 5 years experience inside ServiceNow following being, fully entrepreneurial,
Yeah. Totally.
studying entrepreneurship at UW.
Yeah.
And then you have, this light bulb moment. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm an operator.
What should I do about that? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So what'd you do about that?
Well, in my reflection, again, it was my first job selling was actually venture capital, private equity, business. I was actually a sales guy at one of those funded companies. So I got to see how a venture capital firm and a PE firm backs and scales a company I was a sales rep during that
Okay.
time, pay scale. So I had a VC PE backed thing, and then I had a 0 to 1, like backed by all the literally 25 different investors on that $1.2 million. It was hard earned capital to get all that capital in. And then now I'm like funded by Wall Street with a public company. So I've tasted a lot of these. And so here I am about to finish my time at ServiceNow. I felt like, I talk with God a lot about what do I do? How long do I need to be here? What can I do next? And he was showing me the door graciously, like, hey, it's time to. I've given you all these different kinds of experiences, and I've shown you kind of this light bulb, not just being the visionary entrepreneur, but now the operator. And now I want you to go and move to a new season. And so when I left, I actually got into directly with the venture capital work, and I joined another early stage startup, but not as the CEO. I joined as an operator to help a guy scale this company. I was started out as chief of product and then switched over to chief of revenue when I'm like, wait, we need more help on the revenue side. And so I just shifted my chair over, like, okay, now I'm all about how do we find more top of funnel and revenue. So I played the role of operator for about 2 years at that startup after ServiceNow, and even more embodied the importance of how that the rest of the team around the lead, the visionary entrepreneur, the leader, how critical that was. And that's when I think the penny dropped. And I felt God say to me, like, as an investor, who are the teams that actually rise to the top and that actually reach scale? And it wasn't just the passionate visionary founder that those teams are, usually those ones get off the ground, they get the initial capital, but the ones that actually return the capital, the ones that actually, the ones that
I love
see,
that statement.
the ones
Yeah.
that return the capital and see scale of like, now I'm going to hire a team of leaders below me and I'm going to have a management team. Like that's more of like that maturity mark in an early stage company. That management team, you better have good operators there, because if you have a bunch of people that are, like you said earlier, they can't get stuff done,
Yeah.
right? Then it's hard for this team to scale. So that's when I realized, you know what? I think the need, the bigger need that's in the market today is not necessarily entrepreneurs. Like we're kind of flooded with tons of entrepreneurial. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, raise capital, build your startup. I think what's totally, this is our message, what's totally overlooked and underplayed is this role of, hey, you could go be an amazing number 2, 3, or 4 to scale something that matters.
I gotta put an amen on that. I mean, for real.
You guys have seen that too, right?
There is, well, and I probably spend too many precious minutes on X, formerly Twitter.
Yep.
And the amount of noise around the solopreneur, the entrepreneur, like this lifestyle. Here again, a conversation that Ariana and I had.
Yeah.
There are very few individuals that are equipped to be both visionary and both vision and execution. Hey everybody, Nick Anderson again. I hope that you are getting value from this episode of The Value Factory. Thanks for listening in. Now listen, to build a high-performing organization, you must have a talent strategy, a strategy that attracts and retains the right leaders for your culture. Now at One Accord, we help you reduce turnover and align your team's capabilities with your long-term growth goals to ensure that your vision is carried forward effectively. To learn how One Accord can support your company today, click the link in the show notes or our bio and get connected to one of our senior leaders. Now back to the show.
Yeah. Yep.
And those, I mean, those are few and far between.
Yeah.
And no dig or disrespect to anyone. Now I think there's a cohort of people that aspire to be visionary.
Yeah.
And they struggle in W-2 employment.
Yeah.
Because they always want to do something different. They kind of want to go their own way.
That's right.
And so then they break out to start their own business. But they don't know how to scale it. They're not the operators. And so, people end up creating self-employment,
sure,
which is different than building a company. And here's, I'm gonna go off on I'm gonna stand on a soapbox for a minute.
That's all right, go for it.
Being self-employed is not the same as being an entrepreneur. If I just assign meaning to these words,
I would agree.
I can be a self-employed consultant, a company of one, and I can go generate revenue or income for myself, and I can live very well. Right?
Yeah.
But I don't own a business. I haven't created a company. I'm self-employed.
Correct.
I'm employing myself. Okay.
Yep.
Then there's the entrepreneur that says, I want to build a company. I want assets, and whether they're physical or intellectual. I want to generate revenue leveraging other capital. Physical capital, monetary capital, human capital. I want to create a business that has enterprise value that I can transfer to someone or someone else.
Right. Yep.
And that's the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I think that the message is just not clear enough. And so people hear this that are working in jobs that they don't like because they don't like to be told what to do or have to conform to other people's rules and all these things. And I want to go be an entrepreneur, and they become self-employed without the right context. So I can take I can offer some clickbait, right? In that, and just say there's a reason that only some single-digit percentage of companies last 5, 10, or 20 years. There's a reason that only single-digit percentage of companies only ever break $1 million in sales, right?
Mhm.
Because it is hard.
That's right.
Hard.
Most of the small businesses in America, they're small for a reason, right? It's a bunch
Yes.
of, it's like the E-Myth kind of concept. Like someone
Yeah.
can't get out of being the technician to work on the
Right.
business.
And
Yeah.
and so then as the entrepreneur
Mhm.
who, legitimately there's a company, there's a brand, there's people.
Mm.
One of the reasons it's hard is, and people will say this, my job as CEO is allocation of resources
Mhm.
and hiring the right people.
Mhm.
If those are just the only two things that I do,
Mhm.
I'm probably going to have a, better than average company.
Mhm.
Allocating resources, separate conversation, right?
Sure. Sure.
Building that team of operators,
That's right.
so important. Okay. So then to your point,
Yep.
to say to the world
Yep.
of today, everybody in the world that is 18 to 25,
Yeah.
17 to 21,
Yep.
listen, you can have a great life
Mhm.
being the number 2 or the number 3. You can
Mhm.
be the COO. You can be the chief revenue officer.
Mhm.
You can be the head of a division. You can own 15% of a company that somebody else founded if you earn equity over 5 years,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Lots of pathways. There's so many pathways.
and then they're like, well, I want the whole thing. I want to own the whole thing. And then I can say back to him, Bezos owns like less than 10% of Amazon, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Musk doesn't own 100% of Tesla.
Mhm.
Like, and these are the richest guys in the world. So what makes you think that owning 100% is the way?
Yeah. Mhm.
I want to shout that one from the mountaintops, right?
Mhm.
Like there
Yeah.
is tremendous value economically, to society to being that
Yes.
number 2.
Yeah. And I'll go a little broader than what you
Please.
just did. So, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast and you own a business and you got, 30, 40, 50 employees, 100 employees, I think there are people in your business that can be and should be activated
Hmm.
to think like an operator in whatever job they have.
Beautiful.
Can I just put it that way? Because that
Yeah.
means, like, think about the
Well,
leverage you get if you actually stepped in to a mindset of what I do has ripple effects outside of my specific tasks and domains. Like the unlock that happens for, like what you said, like building a great team,
yeah.
taking your team and helping them think broader than just here's my one thing that I'm here to deliver. That is, so people ask me a lot, what's the difference between an employee and an operator? And
Yes.
the answer is this: it's an operator can look outside of the tree that's in front of them. They start to see the forest around them.
Yeah.
And the operator can start to think with longer term, broader impacts of what they do. And they see the larger operation, which makes them way more helpful in your whole operation succeeding.
I want everybody listening to like whatever timestamp this is, replay it.
That's okay.
Seriously. So the owner of the company
Yeah.
that says out loud, I just wish that my employees would act like owners, right?
Hear
And
that a
I
lot.
heard someone else
Yeah.
say what I'm about to say, so it wasn't mine.
Okay.
But it was like, stop it.
Yeah.
They're not owners.
They don't own. Yeah, they're not incentivized anywhere like you
They're
are.
like, you own the company, right? You're now there is the situation where, there's the ESOP or there's, there is equity that someone owns, but
Sure.
even still, it's likely to be fractional. I can imagine a day in the future where, I own 20% or 30% of One Accord and the team owns 40%, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
And so then everybody is owners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
even still, if I have the largest percentage of ownership, my expectation is that it can't exceed the fact, or my expectations can't exceed that proportional ownership, right?
That's right. Yep.
But you just said something that I've not heard anyone say.
Mm.
This other person who challenged the assertion, I wish my people would act like owners.
Yeah.
He said, his name's Chris and he has the Positivity Company. He's just a super human being. He said, no, you want them to act like stewards. And I thought that was a light bulb moment for me. I was like, oh, yes. But you've just entirely changed my perspective.
Mm.
I want people to be operators.
Yeah.
Not just think like or act like. I want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
And your analogy of seeing the forest,
Yeah.
not just the tree, having those second and third order, if I do this, that means that for this person over here.
That's right. Yeah.
I think of, within my company, within One Accord today, I've got somebody that has a great idea for, let's say, an email marketing campaign.
Yeah.
And so they put in a lot of work, they draft all the copy, they ship it off to our marketing department, and
Mm-hmm.
marketing's like, yeah, here's our marketing calendar. That doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Where is this in
Yeah.
line? So for the person who had the idea to think like an operator is thinking, what
Mm-hmm.
resources am I drawing? Right?
Yeah. Yep.
I've got somebody that's like, oh, I'm going to send my notes over to marketing and have them put together a PowerPoint for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, brother, like for real
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's easy for you to send that email, but what is the resource? Like what?
Yeah.
And then, and or like, customize a document for like one. Okay.
And we have a way we teach this. So if you want, I want to share
Teach.
the
Let's go.
operator mindset.
Let's
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So operator flow, operatorflow.us is our site that we actually teach this to companies and just focus on this mindset shift from I'm good at this one thing to I am good at that, but now I want to see how this affects everything else. And we break it down with a framework we use called CLIMB, CLIMB. And so let's use that example. That's a good example. So person in your company is like, ooh, I had this cool idea for a marketing campaign, right? The first part of CLIMB is clarify, right? So clarify, and then I'll just lean into it. Clarify levers. What levers am I pulling here to get this thing done? What influences exist that I need to know about before I execute? So these whole first three things, this is soft skill kind of thinking. It's M is manage, which is actually going and actually running the campaign or building the thing. And then B is build and innovate new stuff. Let's go all the way back to C for clarify. That person with the idea should say, let me clarify what's our current strategy? Because this thing might work, but let me go and first clarify, hey, marketing team, can you unpack for me, what are you already doing on this general topic? So I'm trying to clarify. I saw the pitch from the stage at the company kickoff. Where does this thing fit into the narrative? They're clarifying, right? That's step one. Can I clarify? And this applies in almost any technical or customer facing operational role. Just pump the brakes, clarify. One. Yeah. Two is the person should be thinking about, okay, cool. There's already levers that people are pulling to try to get certain goals met in the company, right? So my little marketing campaign idea, it might be a lever that we're not pulling right now. It also might be a lever that they tried last year before I was hired, and there's a reason why they're not doing it. Can I just go and say, oh, that's awesome. So it seems like this audience, you've already talked to them last year. Is that right? And they go, yeah, we tried that lever. We didn't really get any traction. So that's why we're not doing anything this year. Now the person's going, oh, okay. So that's not the highest leverage thing. So leverage, average employees don't think about leverage as much as they think about the activity or the campaign they want to send out. The I part of it, these are the harder parts for a typical employee to gather, because you do this naturally when you're in executive level roles, because you're always faced with these kinds of soft skills and decision-making processes. But employees, when they realize what influences is that marketing team up against that I don't know about? It's the reason why they're not running this campaign idea, but I can go and learn about, oh, this is a new boss and they actually tried that campaign last year. And now this person is actually kind of on thin ice with their execution. If they don't do well, they might not be here a year from now. So there's influences that I could learn from chatting that, oh, you're the manager that did that last time and it didn't work. So the influence now in the conversation that I know that I didn't know before, all of a sudden it's like this big light here. It's a whole new light on the situation. That's influence. And now given that, many good operators will be like, do I still want to manage and deliver something or add this new idea do I want to build given what I just learned in CLI? And usually when you clarify, understand levers and influences, your plans usually change if you do it well. So that's how we teach it when we roll it out. When someone's like, I got this idea, coach, put me in.
This is phenomenal. Hello again, everybody. Nick Anderson, CEO of One Accord. And again, I hope you are getting value from today's episode. I want to tell you about One Accord's business enablement services. These are built to remove operational roadblocks and modernize the systems that are slowing your growth. Now, we work alongside you to turn internal complexity into operational clarity, ensuring that your business is fully prepared for its next chapter and future scale. To learn how One Accord can support your company today, the link in the show notes or our bio to get connected with one of our senior leaders. And now back to the show. Phenomenal.
Cool.
We need to keep this conversation going.
We could do a round 2 if you want.
We have to do a round 2. There's so much here. So as I hear you talk through that, I'm like, I need at least a workshop at One Accord on these ideas, right? Just to introduce. Here's my perspective on that. As I hear you talk, I'm thinking, I want everybody on the team to think this way.
That's right.
Or I want everybody on the team to know that I think this way. So maybe my interest in this, immediate isn't that I need everybody on the team to act like operators, to be operators.
Yeah.
But I sure want everybody on the team to know that this is the way I think and kind of what those expectations are, right?
It's the mindset shift.
It is that mindset shift. And so I'm also imagining, and here again, for those operators and for the owners of companies, I'm talking right at you, watch this section again.
Yeah.
Play it back. Even take what Patrick just went through. We should make that a short.
We can make it a short.
Play it for your teams. Right?
Play it for your team. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Good.
There's more to the programs. You said that's
right.
One model. There's other frameworks. What's like start to finish? Is there a program?
Yeah.
Is it 9 months? Is it?
Sure. So again, just to clarify things a little bit, I know we started off talking about global business and all over the world and hard markets, and it's a dynamic. That's what I get excited about. I am an entrepreneur that can operate, but I actually have an operator who helps me run everything at Frontier Operators. So the programs for young and mid-career professionals, the earlier ones about 12 months long. It's all 100% virtual. You can anywhere in North America, you can jump in. The one that's 10 months long, the Forge, it's the higher level. It's a little bit more like a lightweight MBA combined with like a missional spiritual formation process. It's more intense. So those are the 2 programs on the more the faith-based side. But if you're listening to this and you have a company and you're like, gosh, Patrick, this operator mindset, I think let me just start with my leadership team, make sure we're all aligned. That's the kind of program we can deliver that in as little as a 4-hour session. We're actually right now bundling that up so we can do like a preview with just your top leaders for just an hour or 2, so they kind of know what they're walking into. It's always good to make sure they have buy-in. But then if you want to do this, I'm in talks right now with a lot of companies where they have build and technical teams, and then you have customer sales-facing teams. There's a lot of sparks that fly in most companies.
Yeah.
And so what we like to do is we like to bring in a customer-facing team. It could be sales, marketing, customer, whatever, delivery, and then a technical or operational team in the back. And we like to put them in a room, and in a healthy way, controlled way, we like to let them learn the mindset and how their communication, even internally, but just internally, how they can think like operators better. And that can be, again, a 4 or an 8-hour like a session. But that's what we do with Operator Flow. If you're interested in that more from like, I'm going to train all my employees on this.
Yeah. The 12-month program.
Yes.
What's the time commitment for someone going?
Oh, yeah. Just to clarify, so the 12-month one called the Collective, it's 3 sessions a month. It's about 1 hour per session, right? And so there's lots more on our website about it. The Forge is closer to 9 sessions a month, and that does involve 3 in-person trips. The third one is actually a business consulting project somewhere in a developing nation where you're having to get in there, probably get a visa, but we're connecting you with a company that's already operating. And so that's like the capstone as you go deliver a consulting project globally. It's pretty fun. And then the
Yeah.
third one that we just mentioned is operator flow. That can be as lightweight as you need it to be to just help people start to think like operators. Could be I do that virtually, I do them in person. It just depends on what the company wants.
Sounds like you've got a bit of a nonprofit kind of element.
Sure. Yes. So Frontier Operators does sit under our nonprofit arm with Pragma Advisors, talent division of Pragma. That's the 501c3. And then Operator Flow is an LLC. And that's just like straight up business training, leadership development. We don't do management. We're not there to help you run the play and solve the problem. We're not McKinsey. But we're also going to leave you with a pretty practical, after we do a session, we'll actually leave you with a couple. We have some fun custom GPTs we've built to help people like practice this stuff after we leave. And you'll see some follow-on for 30 or 60 days where everyone needs to practice that climb framework on a current account, a current project. And so there's a cool little after, like before and after, you can see some transformation, even in a 30 to 60 day window when we do that training for companies. Yeah.
We'll have to talk about operator flow offline.
That's fine.
We'll have to have a part 2 of this conversation for sure. Because we just started getting into some stuff. There's my friend Matt Wimmer. Do you know Matt?
I do know Matt. Yeah.
He uses the language nuggets, right? So he'll host a speaker and he'll be in the back of the room and he'll write down notes and then he'll come up and he'll say, here's the 3 or 5 nuggets that I got from that speaker. You have changed my perspective. You've changed my thinking around, my hopeful expectation of people on the team, that everyone is an operator, aspires to be an operator, at least understands that that's my desire.
That's right.
So that we're aligned in that. The climb framework, these are things that I think operators, like very accomplished operators, do intuitively.
Correct.
They just do, not because they have a framework, but because it makes sense.
And it works.
And so you in your roles, you were doing these things, you were successful. And then at some point you're like, wait, I'm doing something here. And then you probably fell back into, well, let me like write that down. Let me, put some words around this.
Exactly.
So good.
Good.
Patrick, how do people find you?
Yeah, sure thing. So frontieroperators.com on the more kind of Christian professional development program side, operatorflow.us, US.
Oh, yeah.
It's simple way to find that. So you can, and obviously on LinkedIn, but if you go to those 2 sites, I'd be happy to connect with anyone that wants to have a follow-up. And the cool thing is like, it's so empowering when you tell people that they can be more than just what their job title says.
Yeah.
And some of those people will go off and run companies, and that's great. They'll start companies. But what we like to tell young professionals all the time, we can land on this, is, hey, many people want to become an entrepreneur and a founder, but great founders start out as great operators in whatever role they are. So let's start with that right where you are. You can literally start applying that today after you finish, listening to this, and we're happy to help you in that journey.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Looking forward to part 2.
That's right. We'll get after it. Thank you.